Okay, good afternoon. The August 18th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust will be in order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August 4th meeting. Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from August 4. Comments, questions, corrections, additions? Hearing none, voting please. Minutes are approved. The next item is the consent docket.
Move approval subject to individual consideration.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. Consent docket's approved. Next item is the concurrence docket. Two items.
Move the items subject to individual consideration. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the concurrence docket. Are there matters to be discussed separately on either one of those? Hearing none, voting please. The concurrence docket's approved. Next item is emergency construction contract.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 5, which is a emergency construction contract with McKee Utility Contractors concerning an emergency 15-inch sanitary sewer replacement east of West Main and North Broadway.
And this was an emergency because we had invasive odors moving through the downtown, through the concourse. Line maintenance could not perform the work. It was too deep for them to reach. We found that the top of the pipe had been broken and allowed gravel and things to get into the pipe, completely stopped it up. We've replaced it with a pipe through what we call slip lining. We've pushed another pipe through to make it work, and that work is actually complete today.
Any further comments or questions? Voting please. Emergency construction contract is approved. Next item is to be considered individually. And the first one, item 6A, an amended and restated agreement with the Max Alford Correction Center wastewater lagoon system.
Move the item.
Second.
It's in Stringtown. Any comments or questions? So they're reducing the size of the land that they lease from us substantially.
Yes, and in the past we have negotiated and continue to have a very stringent requirement for how the lagoons operate that help protect Lake Atoka from any damage.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Voting please. Agreement's approved. Amended restated agreement is approved. Next item is a matter for executive session. We have a motion for executive session.
Move the item to executive session.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to move it to executive session. Voting please. Next item is also an executive session item. We do need executive session for that also.
Second.
Motion and a second to move that item into. Next item from trustees. Any comments from trustees? Next item, general manager's report, water capital improvement plan modifications.
Mr. Chairman, this item requests changes to our existing capital program for the short term so that we can analyze what we think is an appropriate prosecution of the capital program. Let me explain. We adopted the program. We have since completed a study that explains how we can move water from north to south, tying the Draper and Hafner service areas together. We've also had the wonderful experience of gaining a grant, a large grant for installation of our most critical resilience improvement, and that's the power system at the Draper Water Treatment Plant. Staff proposes that we move a couple of projects forward, that we start design work on a couple of projects, and that our financial advisors consider those projects move forward as they do the analysis of expenses and rates over the next year. So we will be proceeding with design and asking you to agree with us that it's okay for the financial advisor to look at this alternative. Now, again, that alternative includes design work on repairs that will be necessary to the Lake Atoka overflow device we call a chute, damaged in the very high rains that we had over the spring. You'll recall Lake Atoka was discharging about 6 feet over at record levels for a couple of months. Second thing, we would be pursuing design of a northeast area booster station. This is we believe, based on the analysis done by the engineers, the most critical piece of our work to tie the Hefner and Draper systems together. The great thing about this is that we would get done a little more quickly with those connections. That's the first critical piece that gets the largest area done at once. And that would be the reason that we suggested it's a resilience thing. Second thing is a booster station 8, which we call a Colfax pumping station southeast of the Hefner plant. Is another critical component of our overall reliability system, suggesting that we look at that design as soon as possible based on potentially that we have funds available to do that work. Happy to answer questions.
Have any questions?
Move the item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive the report. Voting, please. Report's received. Next item is the rest of the utility status report. Looks good.
It does look good. The lakes are full. Now, particular other details except that I do want you to know we're still working on the design for the repair to the Atoka pipeline. Again, another emergency out of the heavy flooding that we had on the river this last spring. So what happens in this case is we're looking at design that will install a new support for the pipeline as it crosses the river and eventually take out the old support. It's a complex structure. The design's not done yet. We think we'll finish this project by the first part of December on the current schedule. What that means, though, for Lake Draper is that the lake level will drop back to about 1,100, probably 1,180. It'll be down, instead of being completely full, it'll be down 10 to 15 feet before we complete the repair. In the meantime, what I've done is to adjust flows coming out of the Hefner plant to increase that work to help minimize the impact on Draper while we go through this transition time. We are also expecting this fall more rain than normal. So we're hopeful that we'll get through this by balancing and paying attention. We're looking at it every 2 weeks as we proceed through the completion of the Hefner project. Pardon me, the Atoka project.
Any questions or comments?
Move we receive the report.
Second. Have a motion and a second to receive the report. Voting, please. Report's received. I believe that finishes. Are there citizens to be heard? I'm sorry. Hearing none, I think that finishes the agenda, and we will recess into executive session.